so important to wake up and you know exactly what you need to do that day. You can't run your day on the fly.
I think whatever you're doing, especially in construction, you got to find your why.
I'll be remembered for helping people or speaking up about things I've gone through and encouraging people to speak up.
Words are powerful. I think that you can really change your environment and your mindset by being conscious of the words that are coming out of your mouth.
Welcome, you're listening to Constructing Mindsets. I'm your host, Vincent Saunders. This is the podcast that shines a good light on the construction industry. Whether you're on the tools, in the office, or supporting others behind the scenes, we are hearing from the people who are making this a better place to work and how they are doing it. Please consider subscribing or sharing this story. Thanks for joining us on this one. Let's get into the episode.
Why did you start doing it?
I had this idea like 2-3 years ago. I was just like, all you hear about construction, it's just like, it's so negative. I find like it's always kind of everything's so bad, everything's so hard. Like there's no real, it's like, if and then I was kind of like, well, if I've got two sons and one of them's like is just like a builder. He's like 4 years old. He's like, yeah, I'm a builder. And like, I'm like, well, fuck, like that's what, if he's going to become a builder, he's going into this construction world. And like, I don't know if I, want him to go into it. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Yeah, I do know what you mean. Yeah. It can be a pretty negative space.
It's just, or maybe, yeah, I just thought I was like, and I've kind of always been like, sort of, I don't know, I guess pretty positive about stuff and try to always look on the bright side and that type of thing. I know heaps of people out there that do really good work, that are super positive about stuff. And I was just like, well, if I'm going to do it, I may as well just jump and just do it,
Yeah, man. Makes sense.
But yeah, what about, I don't know. It's like quite a strange one. I like saw you on LinkedIn, I don't know, start of this year, just, I don't know, like smashing out LinkedIn posts. And then, you've got a company now. Like last time I saw you, we were kicking around in high school. I don't know, like I was trying to work out when I left high school and I like didn't really want to do the maths to like talk to you about,
yeah, fair enough.
Talk to you about when we left high school. But yeah, I don't know, like I think it'd just be cool to obviously talk about your journey, like the conduction company. Like, yeah, you made that. And yeah, just chat through sort of leaving school, what you got up to, why you wanted to start a business and, how you run your team in a pretty crazy environment that we're in right now. And yeah, you're Auckland's highest rated electricians. Like, what do you do that's different? Like all that sort of stuff. Like, yeah. What do you think? Is there anything you wanted to touch on as well?
Nah, not really, man. We'll just kick off and see where the conversation takes us, man.
Yeah. Well, we're already recording. Jordan Statham from the Conduction Company joining us tonight. Thanks so much for coming on.
No worries, man. All good.
I don't know, like haven't seen you in person since we're probably kicking around at the same high school together. Yeah, I guess how did you get into being an electrician out of high school? And I don't know, how did you get to owning your own company?
Yeah. I had no idea what I wanted to do when I got out of high. Did you know what you wanted to do straight away?
No, I did.
No.
I took a year, I had a gap year. So I basically like worked for 6 months in 2008, I think it was. And then I went overseas for probably about 4 months, coached sailing in Camp America, traveled around, came back. Then basically my parents were like, you either go to university or you get a job. And yeah, just started doing some papers at university, started building, and I don't know, yeah, like 16 years later, here we are.
Yeah, that's how it happens. I had some garbage jobs straight out of school. I can't remember what they were. But the one just before I got into my apprenticeship, I was a photocopier technician. Awful job. Terrible job. Like I was working for this company and we were working at Unitech in my own little office there. And I was just every day fixing these machines. And then this new company came and they took over the contract and they bought in these new machines and the whole school had these new machines and they just never broke down. So I was completely out of a job, but like no one really knew that I was out of a job. So I would just go into this little office every day and do whatever I wanted for whatever, just try and make it through 8 hours doing absolutely nothing. And then I did about a year of that and thought, man, this is going absolutely nowhere. What am I doing with my life? So the choice was either between, I was going to do an IT degree, which I probably should have done actually, looking back now. But then my wife My girlfriend at the time, her old man was an estimator, electrical estimator for a company called Bushman, and he said, why don't you do this? It's instead of going to school and racking up some debt, just get a job in the construction industry, do your apprenticeship, and you've always got a job afterwards, and you come out and you can earn money straight away, and you don't have any sort of, and it just made sense, no student loans and all that. So I started there, had an apprenticeship doing sort of like commercial work, just skyscrapers, nothing but skyscrapers, just floor after floor after floor of like refits, that type of thing, which was, got me through the apprenticeship. But God, it's tough work, man.
Like
Every day doing,
central Auckland, like big high rise type stuff, commercial stuff.
Yeah, I think we did. I spent 2 years on like the council building, just 26 floors of one skyscraper in like Albert Street type of thing. You do the same. The thing is with those jobs, you'll get good at doing like switchboards or something, and then the foreman will be like, "You're now the switchboard man," and you just do switchboard after switchboard after switchboard, just keep going type of thing. But you get really good at particular stuff, which is cool. So yeah, I spent my apprenticeship doing that sort of thing. Got qualified with Bushman. Only took a couple years at the time. They had this sort of loophole where you could do your apprenticeship papers on demand, like you could do them distance learning. And so I just smashed through them all. I did my first year normal, and then second year was just like, I can do these as fast as I like, smashed through them all. Ended up completing the apprenticeship in 2.5 years. And then, went out from there to a company called Trilect, did some residential work. After that, it was back to commercial, doing like foreman work for a company called AdSal. Started doing project management, it was just terrible, man. I would never do that again.
So what, like project management for a electrical company? Or like,
yeah, exactly right. Just we were doing, like, we did this one big hotel out by the airport, like 100 rooms or something, and I was just sort of managing teams and that sort of thing. But stressful project management, especially for like a bigger commercial firm. Project management is very stressful because you just get squeezed from both sides, from the top and the bottom. So yeah, that was ultra stressful. And then what I do, bailed out on that, did some overseas stuff, and then came back and did refrigeration and industrial, which I was not a fan of. Did that for a good 8 months. And then the entire time I thought, every company I was with, like, man, I could do this so much better than the bosses that were there. Like, these guys don't know what they're doing. And then so yeah, started this company. We've been running for 6 years. Turns out I couldn't do any better than them at all. They were actually killing it. It's such a hard job. But started this 6 years ago, and we've just been steadily growing ever since.
Yeah, so 6 years ago. So that's pretty, I don't know. So yeah, that's pretty crazy that you've been going 6 years, like your own business. I don't know. Yeah. So you started it like when you were 30, I'm guessing? 30 or 29?
Yeah.
Because we're the same age.
30. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty much 30, man. Yeah.
And like, how does that feel sitting here thinking about owning your own business at like 36, like if you're talking to Jordan back in high school, like
if you are freshly qualified out there, that is the time to start a business while you're still young, got like limited responsibilities. Looking back now, I probably would have said, nah, don't do it, man. It's been 6 years of chaos, but now it's kind of cool. It's past the point where we're like an established company. I'm off the tools, and it's like all the systems are set up and in place, which took just hours and hours of work. So it's kind of running smooth now, and the profits are sweet, and our books look fine, and everything's kind of in place. But to get to that point, my God, it's a whole.
Yeah, like I've got actually a recording next week with a guy who's already been on the podcast, and we're going to talk about like how to start a construction company or like how to start a business. Because like I feel like you said, you go to school, kind of similar to me, you jump around, do a bit of jobs, you get a trade, and then either you go down the road of, working for a big company and just sort of progressing in the roles or whatever, or you start your own business. But nobody throughout that is like, this is the steps you need to start a business, or this is what you need to do to start a business, or to even just like register a company.
Yeah, that is everything you have to learn on the fly. And like a lot of tradespeople just make horrible business people. So they'll get, like, you'll notice a lot will get into it and they'll start doing their own thing, and they'll get to the point where they're like buying another van, hiring staff, and then that gets too much for them, and they'll fall back to just being loan operator or contracting for people. And it's because there's just so much to learn. It's completely different. It's a completely different role than being a tradesperson. And the hard thing about that is you go from, especially if you're a good tradesperson, you go from being like an excellent professional expert in one field to being like a brand new white belt in this other field where you just know absolutely nothing. And there's been so many moments in my journey as a business owner where I've just been like, man, it would be so good just to get back on the tools and go back to doing something I know really well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so like, I don't know, can talk about your day maybe, and like, what's your split time like at the moment? Like, you're running a business, you've got, what is it, 5 or 6 employees at the moment, I think?
Five people, heads people, and admin lady, and we've got a virtual assistant. Oh, anyone listening, if you're kind of in the same position, virtual assistants are the best. All of the menial tasks that just get done. We're about to hire our 6th tradesperson, which is cool. Sorry, completely forgot your question, man. What
No,
was
that's right. Like, yeah, so you got a business of 6, we'll call it 6, I think. So yeah, like what does a day look like for you? What does a day look like for Jordan, the business owner at the moment?
For me now, it's about 60-70% just sales. I'll just go out there, do sales calls, come back to the office, put a quote together, follow up on other quotes. The cool thing about our company now is all of the systems are really set up so that my job can really stop at sales if I wanted to. I do everything else, like I'll do some of the management side and oversee things. But if I wanted to, I could just let our service manager do all the management side, and I could just focus on sales, which is cool. So yeah, I just put quotes together, and that we quote absolutely everything. Every job's quoted, even down to the smaller ones. We've got maybe 10,000 pre-built quote templates, so quoting's super simple for us. But once the quote stage is gone, we've got all of our systems set up so that it just rolls on to the technicians. And so that's mostly my day.
What does sales look like for you?
Typically, like I'll have to focus on leads. So leads come through like from a whole bunch of different places, but we'll just get a lead pop up and then we'll try to contact them as quickly as possible. And I'll usually go to site and catch up with them, have a yarn, and then discuss sort of their problems and what their issues are, what we sort of can fix, what we can offer them. Come back and I'll type up. I spent ages typing up quotes so that, the quotes for us are, it gives the client, we need them to know exactly what they're going to get. And we also copy that as a job brief for the staff. So everyone's on the same page about exactly what the client's expecting, type of thing. So I spend heaps of time on that. And it's kind of one of our main selling points is everything is presented super professionally. So everyone knows where they stand. And then, once I'll call them up again, or sometimes we'll just accept straight away because they like you in person. Otherwise, I'll call them up and see if it sort of matches what their expectations were, this and that. And then, I'll try to get as many sales through the door as possible. Yeah, once those are sort of processed, the admin lady sorts the rest out. Service manager books them onto the team, and then he deals with sort of everything from there.
What sort of jobs are you guys doing? You kind of do a bit of everything?
Let's say we do maybe 70% residential work direct to client. So I'll be meeting with sort of homeowners most often. But we do everything from like electrical's our general. That's where most of our work comes from. But we do air conditioning, ventilation systems, data and Wi-Fi, anything with a cable, man. We do everything. Yeah, 70% will be that sort of thing. And we don't do new builds. We sort of dabbled in it, but the margins on new builds are just razor thin. Like I priced one up recently just because it was a mate of mine who wanted it. And I thought, let's just do this one as sharp as possible, even to the point where we were just marginal amount of profit. And then it was only 5 townhouses in a stretch. And they came back to me, I think it was only 100K was the quote. And they came back to me and said, you're 10K over. And it's like, there's no way. There was that money wasn't in it. So there's people out there that just are doing it on absolute razor thin margins. Has to be. So we kind of stay away from new builds. We find we can get super high gross profit margins with just residential maintenance and additions. We do commercial work, commercial maintenance for a bunch of different clients, which are good. They kind of just keep our team busy and they fill in spaces. But that's kind of the split, 70-30.
Kind of wanted to touch on like your highest rated electricians in Auckland, because I know some electricians in there and they've got, like 1 or 2 reviews on Google, and you guys have got like 400 and something reviews on Google. Like if you're a small business, like how do you get to that stage, like what's the sort of what are you guys doing differently? I guess that's my question.
Man, for us, it was always been part of our process. I'm a huge into systems and system building. It's the key thing I do with the business is just build robust systems and then tailor them over time. So our process is we'll quote the job, get the job, do the job, and then afterwards, our admin lady, she's got a full form which she goes through with the client just for feedback. And she'll ask them, hey, like anything positive, anything negative, and we tell her to say, just be brutally honest because we want to try and make our service as good as possible. Even if there was little things that were wrong, just tell us because we really want to change things. And so we'll try and eke out as many of those sort of little negatives as possible. And over time, we've just modified our systems based on that negative feedback to try and cancel out any of those that pop up in the future. And now, like, we hardly get any that come through with any negative feedback. And so once they come through that process and they'll say, nah, everything was excellent, we just go, hey, do you mind giving us a 5-star review? And from there, it's just gone on and on. So pretty much every job we do, we'll get at least 10% of people. People don't leave reviews. It's so hard to get reviews out of people, especially Google reviews. But yeah, we get about 10% of people leaving reviews, and it's hardly ever they'll come back. Sometimes we'll get a 4-star, and again, we modify our process based on what they didn't like. But yeah, most of the time now it's all just 5 stars. So our process and the cool thing is all of the reviews now, when people write things, they'll say, we felt looked after from start to finish, which is cool for me because it's like, oh, our systems are now fully in place where the client feels looked after at every step type of thing. And we've just built that over time, just iterating on our process, you know?
And what were, I don't know, like, could you share like one or two of those, what were some of those negative things that you, like the one thing that maybe clients, you kept seeing pop up over and over again that was like the biggest change for you guys?
People with trades, just communication. Communication's huge, especially with tradespeople that we're just known not to communicate. So we changed our system to every touch point, we've got a communication. Like you'll get sent, let's say your job, the quote gets sent through to you, you get a text message saying that the quote's been sent through. If you accept it, it'll pop up with a little text message on your phone that can link to a video of me just explaining what happens now, because people want to know what happens in the next step, and I was sick of calling people and telling them the same thing. So just record a video and it just shows me explaining this is the sequence of events that's going to happen next. Send them a booking confirmation so they know when. The day before, they'll get a booking confirmation. They'll get a text to say the technician's on the way and a call to say what the ETA is. Most of the time, we compile all of the materials here, and then the admin lady will courier them to site ahead of time with like a little pack of lollies in it, so that all the gear's already on site. No one has to pick anything up. It doesn't get lost or that sort of thing. So everything's ready to go, and it's all of those things that the client views and they're like, wow, this company's like really on top of things. You know what I mean? If you get a package in the mail with all of your gear sitting there ready, you think, these guys know what they're doing, you know?
Yeah, like that seems, I don't know, yeah, like that seems pretty crazy. Well, not crazy, but like pretty amazing that you courier the stuff beforehand. I guess some of the stuff you're doing, those electrical items are small enough to courier, switches or whatever, and that saves your team time, or like you holding stock of all of that stuff to pull out of your van when they need to.
Totally. Yeah. And for us, it's been huge, that one, because like a real time sink, and anyone that owns an electrical, any business, any construction business will know that the wholesaler, getting your team to go to the wholesaler is just such a waste of time. They'll get in there and like immediately they'll have a 30-minute conversation with the guy on the desk, and they'll make themselves a coffee, and then they'll go to the shelf and try to figure out what they need, and they might not exactly know. And I don't know, before long, they've spent an hour there, and that's an hour out of their day. Whereas the admin lady can just do it all, compile all the gear, send it out, and they just drive straight there,
Wow. So does that come from your wholesaler couriers it out there, or does that like come to your office couriers it out there?
For bigger stuff, like if we order an AC unit, the wholesaler will deliver it directly there. Otherwise, for smaller stuff, it comes through from different suppliers, and then our admin lady will pack it into a box, add some different stuff and some merch and that type of thing, and just fire it off, man.
Wow. That's super. Yeah, wow, yeah, that's like blowing my mind. That's crazy. That's cool.
Yeah, it's worked for us, but in terms of efficiency, it's awesome.
Yeah, it makes so much sense that, like you kind of, I don't know, I remember back in, I don't know, site manager days when I was working for a residential builder, you'd call up, you've maybe got a service job at someone's house that they've moved into, and you're waiting for the plumber or the builder or whoever, and they're like, yeah, I'm just picking up and waiting at wherever, like I'm just waiting for the stuff now, I'll be there in half an hour. And you're like we said, we were going to be here at like 7 or 7:30 or whatever.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So that makes sense.
There's such a time suck, and like keeping really well stocked vans every other. Yeah, we'll do the same thing. We were having like weekly meetings, and noticed that we were spending heaps of time at the office restocking. So now we've got this software which tracks all of the van stock, and at the end of the week, the admin lady will like compile van stock for the staff and courier it to their house. So they just restock their van based on what arrives in their mailbox, and we've got a track of exactly what's going on in their vans. So we're just fully stocked. We almost never have to go to a wholesaler, which has just eliminated all of that inefficiency.
And like, does your team then like come to the office in the morning or something, or do they just go to jobs independently based on their orders and stuff like that?
Yeah, they'll just go directly to site, and all the gear will be, most of the time, all the gear's just there waiting for them, which is cool.
Like instead of picking up what they need for the day and then mucking around in the office for, an hour or something, and then getting stuck in traffic, and then they're not there till 10 o'clock or something.
Exactly right, yeah. So all of that time, couple hours, you could easily waste a couple hours per technician per day just going to wholesalers and stopping at the office and stocking up,
Wow. And how did you come up with that idea? Like, are there other companies that are doing that? Do you know, or is it just?
Yeah, I actually don't. I don't think so. No, everything about inefficiency really annoys me. I think I was just like, man, I know you guys are wasting so much time at the wholesaler. How do we prevent that from happening? And it just grew. Yeah.
Yeah, and what are like those? So you kind of talked about you having like a weekly conversation with your team there about, either feedback or the jobs and stuff like that. Like, was that kind of a whole team discussion around sort of implementing those changes from that feedback and stuff, or how did you? Yeah, like how was your approach with your team to get that feedback and make those changes?
It usually comes top down from me, because I'll just modify the system, and then their job is to follow the system. But for our technicians, I only really want them focusing on the technical side, like get in there, do your job. That's all you should be focused on. Everything else is just you follow this process type of thing. And it comes from, you've read the E-Myth, that book? You ever read that book? I think it's one of the top books for sort of business development. Excellent book for anyone going and starting business. They really highlight the McDonald's process for systems implementation. Like McDonald's, they can hire anyone, any sort of 18-year-old fresh out of school, doesn't know anything about anything, and they can go in and within 1 week they're, fully doing a job just based on their systematic process and documentation. And so that's kind of what I try and do with this business. Just want to systematize everything and make like a really clear process. It just helps.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about how you first got started in construction. I guess when you started your business, or even started your apprenticeship as an electrician, like was it what you expected when you first got into it?
No, not at all, man. No, because you come from like jobs or a corporate environment, semi-corporate or whatever. It's just construction is completely different in some good ways. One of the really cool things about construction is you can just talk freely. You can have a laugh with people, and like it's very rare that someone's going to get offended by something you say or jokes you make, that type of thing, which is excellent. I don't think I could handle, now being in it for this long, I don't think I could handle being in a corporate environment where you have to sort of curtail what you say, Was it what I expected? No, not really, but you learn to sort of love it. It is a cool industry.
Seems like you have quite a open sort of communication channel with all your team members there. Where did that come from?
All of that stuff definitely has to come from top down. Like you learn pretty quickly as a business owner that if you don't like have those confrontational conversations with your staff, then things just keep going and they'll get worse and worse over time. You have to confront things, even if they're difficult conversations. But then that, like, the more you do them, the less difficult they become. And so if there is something bugging me about the way that someone's operating, I will tell them as quickly as possible. I'll try to, sometimes it doesn't work, but I'll try to like give it a day or so that I'm calm about it. But sometimes I'll just blow up at them immediately. And then it'll cool off and we'll end up having a really good conversation where I figure out their exact opinion. They know my exact opinion. And it's usually resolved within 24 hours, and we can go on and just progress. Whereas yeah, I've been in businesses where management just doesn't address. They don't want to have those hard conversations or confrontational conversations, and things just don't get addressed, and they end up just years later and there's the same problems, and it's always been this way. So you don't talk to Larry that way, that type of thing.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I know kind of exactly what you mean. So yeah, when you kind of touched on it already, but yeah, when things don't go to plan, or your system maybe in the early part of your business when the systems maybe weren't working out the way you thought they were going to work out, like how do you handle that pressure or those conversations? Like, yeah, what's your mindset around sort of fixing those solutions or yeah, problem solving that way?
Yeah. So I'll typically get ultra frustrated immediately, and then once I've called off, it's all just sort of again, I get really into the process. Like let's say we had one issue the other day that popped up, and it was just because someone didn't know a certain process. It was disconnecting. Someone was disconnecting things, and they did it in the incorrect way. Super frustrated for myself and the other team members that were trying to get the work done. But again, you have to think, hey, this falls back on me. What could I have done prior to this to make it so that it was just part of a system that it doesn't happen again? And then, yeah, you focus on how can I prevent this from happening again? And usually it's coming up with a process document to say that, team, this is the way that we need to do this from now on. This is the process. And then you get them all to sign that, say, we know the process. And then that particular document will go into our roster. And then every week when we're doing our toolbox talk, we'll pull out one of the old things of the roster and just refresh everyone on the exact way we do things. And collaboratively, with our team, if they have any ideas on how to improve systems, we just modify those processes, and then it just keeps going into the bank of processes we have, that sort of thing.
What's your end goal with all these processes? Like, is it to just not have, I don't know, yeah, like what's your dream for this process or your business? Is it like just to have people being independent, to have stuffs being sent in advance and you kind of just sitting in the office and like what's the dream scenario for you?
So for me, the end goal would be to get the business to a place where it's as profitable as we need it to be in terms of net profit at the end of the year. And for me, just to phase out, have everything in place so that everyone knows their exact tasks, exactly what they're doing. You can find whatever you need on our system in order for you to follow processes. And then, yeah, just phase out and eventually just work whatever hours a week, maybe just modifying systems and coming in and checking on things and seeing how people are. But yeah, eventually I think every business owner just wants to have a business which is operating, generating money in the background that they could step away from for a month or 2 months, go and have a holiday, know that the business is fully sorted, and then just come back and tinker with it. That's where I want to go. That's the ideal dream of it.
And I don't know, yeah, like how far away are you from that, do you think? Or like, what are some of the challenges that you're still facing?
Man, for me personally, it's leadership. Like I really have to learn leadership. Decent at sales and getting better by the day, just because I'm doing it more and more now. Leadership is because there's two types of people. There's people like myself who are really task focused. I'm strictly focused on tasks, and then there's people who are sort of people focused, and they really care about others, and they sort of have like they're really decent at sort of relationship building and management. So for me, I'm strictly focused on task. And like how people feel hardly ever enters my mind. I just want to get the task done. And apparently for people like myself, it's really easy to get a business to this stage where you've got, 5 to 10 staff and you're really focused on process building. But in order to get to that next stage where you're kind of lifting yourself away from the daily grind, you kind of have to become more people focused in order to get the most out of your staff for them to drive the business and to follow the process that you've put in place. So that's the next step for me. And, I'm doing courses and things to try and learn how to be better at management because I can see that's the area that I'm lacking in. But yeah, I think once that's in place, I'd probably give it 10 years. 15 years conservatively would be the goal, to completely remove myself and have the income being generated that I want in order to leave it and then just come back and tinker with it and that. But yeah, have the option not to if I didn't want to.
That's sweet. Cool. Yeah, some pretty incredible insights from you, I think. I don't think there'd be many people that can, I don't know, in the industry that are shining, I guess, like looking at themselves that much. They kind of tend to sort of potentially, one thing that annoys me about the industry and kind of why I want to start the podcast is it's more of like a finger pointing industry. It's just, that's not my problem. It's I did this because of this was wrong and this was wrong, and that's what I just did this instead. But you kind of seem to be looking at maybe yourself first, and then that providing that leadership for everyone else to follow.
Totally. You have to. Because if you think about every issue that, well, for me personally, every issue that happens in business, initially you can finger point and blame and whatever, but it all comes back to you and, what you could have done to prevent it and what we can do to prevent it from happening again in the future. And if you put those processes in place, things just don't tend not to happen.
What what do you do with your process? You talked about it, got a document, and then you go through it with the team and stuff like that. Like, and you follow them up. Like, is that just everyday process, or is it like big system processes as well, or is it just for all like the whole thing in the business, just everything?
We've got so many processes. So yeah, it's for each individual aspect, we'll try and have a process document, and we've got big, thick manuals on the way that we like things done. And it's just all the documents are constantly evolving. But it's to the point now where if, let's say the admin lady has a process that she needs to figure out, there'll be a video of it, of me doing it on our shared drive. So she can just go into a process folder and it's all sorted out, and she can look at the video and see how I've done it in the past and then modify it if she needs to record another video. But just every aspect you want sort of documented and processable, so that, yeah, the main goal is for people not to call me, because I get so many, even now with all the processes in place, I still get calls every day. How do you do this? How do you do that type of thing? So it's about eliminating those, and not just for the staff as well, but also for clients, training clients. Like now it's all, I like to record heaps of videos just on little helpful things, like how to replace a porcelain fuse type of thing. I've got videos for those that I can just fire off to the client if they ask that question, or how to start your generator or that type of thing. We can, all video based, because that's how people consume media now. And it's quick, you just send it to someone and they can view it for 10 seconds and they know exactly what's going on. It's that phone call prevents my time.
Yeah, like how to restart, restart your hot water cylinder, or like whatever. Yeah,
Exactly.
like restart your air conditioning unit or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
nice. All right. Well, I think we'll talk. We've got a little section here on real talk. So I was thinking, maybe what are some of the biggest challenges, or the biggest challenge that you've run into, either prior to your business or like in your career so far? Like, is there one thing that you like, I overcome this and I can do anything type thing now?
Ooh, challenges. I think a lot of challenges, the bigger challenges come from personalities, especially if your career is, you're in those sort of management roles or you're working up within a bigger company. They all tend to be people, your interactions with people, that people get really hung up on, and the things that you'll bring home for work are your interactions with people, and that sort of the emotional value of those relationships that you have at work. So figuring out ways to get past those and have those sort of direct conversations, that's excellent. You sort of have to do that sort of thing. Otherwise, you can get really stuck on. I listen to people all the time, and they've got a real problem with someone at work. I always say, just like, how about you go and have a conversation with that person? But it's never like that. There's a lot of you get wrapped up in the emotions of like, those interactions that you have at work, especially if there's grudges that you're holding and that type of thing. Yeah, getting past those, knowing how to figure those out, and having better relationships with people at work is a huge. Those are the most of the challenges. Every other challenge is just figure it out, process, document it, and then in the future you know exactly what to do. And it's all just an accumulation of that type of knowledge. Eventually you get to a point where there's very little that can go wrong or does go wrong that you haven't dealt with in the past.
And what's like your, I don't know, like how do you get through that clash in personality? Like what's your own go-to mindset hack to not blow up at this other
Just
person?
quit your job.
You just give up.
Just give up altogether, man. No. For me now, it's way easier if owning a business is not easy, but being in control is quite simple, because you can it's really easy to maintain those relationships and set that type of workplace where you have open communication instead of being stuck in the middle and sort of not being able to, because this person's higher in the hierarchy than you. I think that can become a bit of an issue. So it's easier in that regard for if you're at the top of the food chain to set all of those sort of the mentality in your workplace, which is cool.
Just one other question. What advice would you give to someone facing those challenges? Like they got big personality clashes at work. Like what would you, I don't know, what's your top tip not quit, I guess. But
Not quit. Don't quit, man. You've still got time. No, the main thing that I say to people is just have a conversation with that person, because I think you can get into your head about how you perceive that person is thinking about you, and a lot of the time that can be totally wrong. So if you just were to go to that person and say, "Hey, let's just catch up for a beer outside of work," and then just have an honest conversation with them and try to pick their brains about how they view you, how you view them, try to get that back and forth in a real open context, you usually learn heaps about them and realize, hey, this person's not actually too bad. Maybe I had them wrong about this. Maybe they had me wrong about that. And it tends to just ease off after that. And it's all just communication based, open communication.
yeah, it's like I said it like a couple episodes ago, but like the number one thing that I'm hearing from all of these conversations with so many different people, like I've had development managers, site managers, lead, sort of learning development in construction, yourself, a planner. It's all just communication. At the end of the day, that's we're in an industry where there's so many different people and they're all doing so many different things. You just got to talk to each other, and it sounds so easy, but it's like, how is this so hard to do?
Yeah. It's huge. Oh, and key thing is expectations setting. Like, it's really easy to meet expectations because you just have to do what you said you've done. And that's from both sides, from a staff perspective and from a management or leadership perspective. But setting the expectations initially, we're huge on that. So before you enter into any relationship or any sort of contract agreement, even down to small ones, as long as you can clearly state exactly where that person stands and they can do the same with you, then everyone knows what playing field is, exactly what's expected of each other, and it's really easy to meet those afterwards. So setting expectations is probably more important than trying to meet them afterwards.
Interesting. Well, yeah, there's a couple other questions I've got. One, I don't know, we can ask, I don't know if I'll include it or not, but one question, it's a bit of a good segue before we move on to some other stuff. But one question my wife wanted to know was what I was like at high school. So I can get it on record.
You were always cool, man. Oh, yeah.
No.
For sure. There's those people in high school. There's people who I think back to and they're like, oh, no, that guy was actually the man, bro. He was super kind, that type of thing.
Yeah, I just don't remember. Like, honestly, I think we were just in such different. I don't know. In high school, you're in your own little groups and own little friend group and stuff. You just see somebody in the corridor like 100 times, and you don't really ever. You're just so separate to a lot of people at your school. It's quite bizarre. I don't know, it's probably like 1,000 people maybe at our school, and like you probably only talked to like a dozen people at that school.
Yeah, pretty much. And then everyone else was just an acquaintance. Yeah, it's out of it. You definitely grow. I've definitely grown way more. So I was had zero confidence in school. And I think like it's something that I want to instill in my kids is that you just get good at something. Doesn't matter what it is, but as long as you're good at something or you follow something that you're really good at, then that's how you sort of build confidence. And I don't think I was ever like great at anything in school, so there was no sort of confidence there. But as soon as you get good at one thing and realize, oh yeah, I'm actually fucking great at this type of thing, then the confidence just builds from there. And then, you don't walk around like a ghost anymore.
Yeah, and like, I don't know, like again, we both went to, it's quite a big school, and like there's so many people there and they've got so many things you can do. And if you don't fit into that exact mold of that, either the teacher or the class or the sports that the school, I don't know, puts all their money into, you're just kind of like somebody over there. Like they're just like, oh, there's Vince, there's Jordan. Like they're just, they're over there. Like you're kind of just background noise most of the time. What about you? Where are you? You still in Auckland?
Yeah, we're Auckland based. We've got our spot in Green Bay, but we're renovating it at the moment. And actually wife and kids have moved over to St. Heliers just because they have better school zones there. So I'm actually here just camping out by myself, renovating, like ripping out kitchens and trying to renovate this place so we can rent it. And then, we'll be heading over there as well. But in terms of like family, I don't know, we did OEs and that type of thing, but I don't think I'd ever want to raise a family anywhere but here. It's a cool spot. We live in a cool spot. Yeah, regardless of the economic conditions in the construction industry, it is a cool spot. You're never far away from a beach,
Yeah, like we made the move down from Auckland, like 2 years ago kind of thing. And we're like we're not in the middle of Tauranga, we're like kind of a little bit rural, but we have like the school kindy and like this the first school that the kids go to till they're like 9 or something is like 2 minutes down the road. Like for a rural location, it's pretty handy. Yeah, so we're kind of like 20 minutes outside of Tauranga.
Nice. And what, you got like a block down there?
Yeah, we bought like basically a grass paddock. We looked in Auckland. We came back from London. We looked in Auckland for ages, and then we were like, oh, we're not going to get anything good in Auckland, so we'll look in Tauranga. And then we started like, oh yeah, we could live in Tauranga. And then a couple of years went down the track, and we just saw this block of land, and we were just like, okay, fuck it, like we'll just build a house. And me and my dad built this house, and yeah, we've been in here for nearly about 2 years now.
Awesome. Must be cool. Cool feeling living in a house you built.
Yeah,
or
but
is
like,
it falling apart?
hopefully not. No, but it's like, but then you're kind of always like, oh, I wish I should have done that, or I should have moved that over there. Like, it's like we built like a very simple house, like just weatherboard, like very standard house, like not really flash architectural house, but kind of now you're like, oh yeah, maybe I should have put that over there. All right, well, yeah, I don't know how we got off track there, but anyway, a couple more questions, I think. Yeah, it was good. All right, a couple more questions, and then I think, I don't know, yeah, it's pretty awesome to talk to you, Jordan, so thanks for your time. But yeah, essentially, so what's one moment in your career that's made you super proud or reminded you why you got into this?
Well, there's been a few. Yeah, there's been a few for sure. Getting our first apprentice through his time was awesome. So yeah, that was a cool milestone to see him sort of progress, and he's actually become our sort of service manager now. So he's kind of an integral part of the company. So yeah, that was a super cool moment, and we've done that for. There's another couple of apprentices we've brought through now. It's always cool to see them sort of progress and then get their ticket and they're away type of thing, which is cool. What else was there? Hitting a million turnover, and now that might not seem like much for whatever building or construction firms because you're dealing with much bigger numbers, but for subbies, a million's actually like, especially for us where our gross profits like 45-50% type of thing, a million is actually like a big milestone. So we hit that a few years ago, which was cool. We're just about to move into, we purchased, we're moving into a commercial premises, which will be the next like big goal, because we've been operating out of this like converted double garage for the last 4 years, which is excellent in terms of accounting. Excellent. If anyone out there, just stay at home. It's in terms of the numbers, it's the best you could do. But you get to a stage where it's like, no, it's super crowded in here, and there's a lot of movement of things like gear coming in and out. So that'll be a cool milestone too. I'm super proud of that achievement, sort of moving into there. And it's all these milestones that sort of build up over time.
Nice. And any projects or people that have inspired you lately?
Man, we're part of this group called Mastercraft. It's like a national group of electricians, and we all just help each other out, and we're sort of service based. But then there's this guy called Pete who I used to work for at Trilect, and he's gone into he was like did solar projects, just small scale ones, but he's now started to do massive scale to commercial solar farm projects where he'll do like whatever hundreds and hundreds of panels on sort of a farm and connect it to the national grid, and like he's really improving the infrastructure. So I looked at that dude like, wow, you're actually doing something pretty major in terms of New Zealand infrastructure. You're driving that forward. So yeah, that's super impressive, that guy.
Yeah, solar stuff's pretty, yeah, I'd love to somehow get into solar stuff because we got solar panels on our house, but like we don't really, I don't know if we have enough to see the benefit on them, but it's just such a cool thing to be a part of. And like, I'd love to somehow, yeah, get involved in that. I drove to Potiki a couple times a week or once a week. There's a massive solar farm on the way to Potiki. It's pretty cool. But yeah, that would be, again, yeah, that would be something that I'd love to get into, that sort of, yeah, natural kind of resource, and building that into the infrastructure of New Zealand would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I think it's going to become more important too. Now that the price of the panels has come right down, and it sort of makes it super affordable, and the payback period's not long anymore. It used to be years and years before you actually saw a benefit, but now it's super minimal. I think just in terms of the infrastructure here, and especially in Auckland, we've got a failing infrastructure. Things are, you get brownouts all the time. Things are failing, but having batteries, I think batteries, now that the cost of those is coming right down too, I think that's going to become super important. because we've got all of this energy that we can generate, but none of it's being used overnight. So things like electric cars and batteries, we're going to start storing that energy, and it makes sense in terms of grid infrastructure.
Yeah, and just being able to, like reuse that energy, or else it's just basically going to waste at the moment.
Yeah, pretty much, man. There's a bunch of energy there that just gets wasted overnight. It's just sitting there and no one's using it.
That's something that it'd be pretty cool to get into that. And some of those, I know some people don't like the idea of those solar farms, but like it's like the new, it's going to be the new norm in like I don't know how many years, but it's just kind of you need to take that next step to build it into the infrastructure to then hopefully it becomes like a bit more of a part of the framework of the country, I guess.
Yeah, they definitely have their place. Obviously, you can't replace all of the infrastructure. We're lucky here that we've got heaps of hydro and thermoelectric plants that we can generate our base electricity from. But there's definitely a place for solar grid infrastructure for sure.
Oh, sweet. All right. A couple more questions. There's one thing I've started doing is like a quick fire round of questions. So we'll just quickly run
Heavy.
through like 5 or 6 questions.
Yeah,
So quick fire round. So are you a coffee or a tea guy?
I'll do coffee all the way. I'll make a giant pot of coffee in the morning, and I'll continue drinking right throughout the day.
Are you
Cortisol
like
levels just maximum.
are you like one coffee a day type thing, or just like one enormous?
No, I'll easily get through about 8 coffees a day for
Really?
sure.
Oh,
Yeah, man. I
shit.
just the problem is the pot. The pot just stays there full, and by the end of the day, it's just completely gone. It's
So-
easy 8 coffees.
Oh my god! So no energy drinks, just coffee for you, just coffee.
Yeah, no energy drinks. No, I might die. Blood pressure issues with energy drinks on top of all
Yeah,
that.
I drove up to Auckland the other day and I had two coffees and an energy drink, and like I could not. I was just like paranoid. I wasn't gonna be able to sleep. Like my mind was tired, but my body was just like ready to go. I could like feel it like pumping through me. It was fuck. I can't imagine like how many. Just thinking about how many energy drinks I've drunk when I was young and like what they've done to me. It's just anyway.
Yeah, horrible for anxiety for sure.
Yeah, 100%. All right. The biggest mindset tip for people starting out in the industry.
Set tip. And what do you mean, starting like doing their apprenticeships or that type of thing?
Yeah, or looking to get started in the industry. Just, biggest mindset tip for someone starting out.
Oh, you just have to get stuck in. And it's interesting. The new generation is like, you have to get stuck in and do the work. Don't be afraid of like physical work, because everyone goes through that period first. You can't just be management immediately. You have to get in and do the physical work. And like everyone that is going to be teaching you is going to respect you for turning up and actually putting in like a solid day's work. And your ethic, learning how to build that ethic from the outset, is super important.
Okay. One word to describe a great crew or a team.
Ultimate. Our team is ultimate. That's the word for it, for sure. Yeah, there's no one better.
Okay, well, I don't know if you can unwind at the end of the day with 8 coffees, but favorite way to unwind after a tough day?
I definitely gym, man. Gym or jiu-jitsu. I got into that a few years ago, and both of those are excellent ways, especially jiu-jitsu, because you can just get some of that daily rage out. It's excellent, yeah.
And what's one thing you wish more people understood about construction?
Oh, man, that has to be, if you could learn how to sell at a premium, you don't just have to leverage price as the only way to get a sale through. Like a lot of the industry is just race to the bottom, like lowest price wins type of thing. Doesn't have to be that way. If you just learn how to sell, you can sell at a premium. People are willing to pay more for a better service, but you just have to sell it to them. You have to let them know why it's better to spend a bit more. And if it was more like that, then everyone would be better off for it.
And looking ahead for you, kind of touched on it already, but yeah, what are your hopes? Or what are your hopes for the future of construction?
Future of construction? For the electrical industry in particular, I'd love to see some more sort of pragmatic strategy around safety, health and safety, because it's still huge. There's still people sort of losing their lives and getting seriously injured every year. And like health and safety, you'd know all about it. It's like a lot of it is just box ticking and paperwork just so that you're not liable. But I think there has to be more that we can do pragmatically, practical solutions we can put in place for people to increase their health and safety to prevent those sort of things.
And yeah, so where can people get in touch with you if they want to talk to Jordan, or they want to get in touch with the Conduction Company?
Then flip me an email. Jordan at tcco.co.nz, or find me on LinkedIn, or we're on the Conduction Company. Just search that on Facebook or Instagram. You'll find us there. Heaps of ways to get in touch.
Yes, man. Appreciate it. Well, thanks so much for coming on. Great to see you. And
Yeah, good
yeah,
to see
I
you
think
too, Vinny. Nice chatting to you, man.
that's it for today's episode of Constructing Mindsets. Remember, every conversation is a chance to shift the culture of construction. Subscriptions and reviews are always appreciated. Until next time, let's keep building the kind of industry we all want to be a part of.